Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I have had a great week so far. Happy Friday, we made it. Another week. Time is flying already. We just passed July, now it's already the end of the first week of August. Time is flying. And I hope that things are going well so far as we move into the monthly theme of connecting with your inner child. And today, I've decided to share a portion of a lecture by Dr. Margaret. She's a psychologist and a relationship coach, therapist who has created a methodology called inner bonding. You can click on the link in the show notes to watch the video in its entirety, which we're only going to listen to the first 4 steps. There are 2 other steps in this process of inner bonding. It's called the 6 steps of inner bonding, the original title of the video. So you can click on the title of this lecture to find that on YouTube. And if you go to the show notes, you can also click on her name. You can go directly to her website where she has plenty of other information. You can also go, that link will take you directly to her background page so you can read more about who she is, her background, and all the wonderful work that she's done so far. And so this month, the theme for August is healing the inner child, and in week 1, the theme is connecting with your inner child. Now, I've decided to share this because this is a new framework that many people might not have heard before, inner bonding. So it's the process of actually how to do that emotional reconciliation with your inner children, the inner teenager, the inner toddler, the inner, all of these different inners that you have, right? All the different stages of development where there were traumas or emotional situations, struggles that were not able to be faced, and so they were pushed down, cut off by your memory. This process of inner bonding is how do we turn back towards those inner children, the inner teen, the inner toddler, the inner preteen, all of these different versions of yourself. How do we turn around and face them amidst the most serious, the most heavy, the more challenging situations and emotions? How do we actually do that in a practical sense? It's beautiful because she gives us literally a 6-step process on how to walk through the emotional processing of these overwhelming and extreme events. And so I hope that you take some time to look further into this inner bonding methodology. Specifically on her website, you will see she has lots of free resources. There are some infographics there that actually explain all of these different steps. And if you click on the link in the show notes and watch the video in its entirety, it's a live lecture where she's using slideshows and other artifacts. So if you're looking for more context, you can definitely do that. But she has plenty of additional resources on inner bonding, connecting with yourself, addressing, accepting, acknowledging, addressing, accepting, processing, and releasing those old emotions that are keeping you stuck so that you can make the next step in your journey. A lot of us have stayed stuck within this process of inner child healing because of an inability to sufficiently get in touch with the hidden emotions. And so it's truly an essential part of our journey, as with every single part of this journey is essential. I said also last month, the boundaries are one of the most important things. So this is also one of the most important things. Boundaries will prevent you from incurring more traumatic events, but at the same time, even establishing boundaries, if you have not gone back to do that inner bonding, facing those emotions, you're still going to be perpetuating the traumas from the past, even though you're preventing yourself from incurring more traumas in the present by the establishment of your boundaries. But to be honest with you, until you have completely, or not even completely, that's setting the bar really high, but not until you have faced or examined the inner bonding, started this process in an honest way, in a way that is, again, not complete, but at least sufficiently thoroughly enough to be able to create your effective boundaries. Because until you can actually acknowledge all those emotions, you might have split some off, or some might be in denial. And that might prevent you then from creating the effective boundaries. So again, every step of reparenting is important, and that's a little bit of why this step is important. So without further ado, let's go ahead and listen to Margaret Paul.
Okay, now let's go over to the right side of the chart, and I'm going to briefly go through with you the 6 steps of inner bonding, because this is the alternative. This is the alternative to doing all these programmed things that we've learned to do for so many years. This is what you can turn to when there's anything other than peace inside. Okay, so step 1 of inner bonding is that you have to be willing to feel your painful feelings. If you're not willing to feel the wounded feelings and learn from them, if you're not willing to feel the core painful feelings, you see, the core painful feelings are what all those addictions are about. Because if you don't learn to lovingly manage these core painful feelings, you've got to avoid them. And so in step 1, you are willing to embrace, to compassionately feel all feelings, the wounded ones, the core ones, and to find a place in you that wants responsibility for them, wants responsibility for comforting them, for learning from them, for managing them. That's step 1. And we can't proceed until you decide that you're willing to feel your painful feelings rather than continue to avoid them with all of those various ways of abandoning yourself. Now, once you feel your pain, then you move into step 2. You move into your heart. You invite the presence of love in and the presence of compassion in. Love and compassion are not feelings we generate in our own body. They are gifts of spirit. When we open to learning, we are inviting the gifts of spirit into our heart. We're inviting the love and compassion into our heart. And in step 2, we consciously say, I want to learn about loving myself. That's what creates the loving adult self, is that I want to learn about loving myself. I'm inviting in love and compassion. Now, just as if you have a child who's, say, crying, and you say to the child, what's the matter now? Just tell me, what's the matter now? I really want to know what's going on. Is that child going to feel safe to talk to you? They're going to feel intimidated. They're going to feel scared. They'll probably lie to you. Same thing on the inner level. If you're just trying to get rid of your pain, if you're coming from your wounded self and you're saying to yourself, okay, what is it now? What do I need to do? What have I done? Or what's going on? You're not going to get anywhere. But if you're in your heart with compassion for your own feelings, then you move into step 3. And step 3 is a dialogue process where you're asking the feeling part of you. Your inner child is the feeling part of you. You're asking, how am I treating you? What am I telling you that's causing these wounded feelings? Or what's happening externally with a person or a situation that's causing these core painful feelings? So we're open to learning. We want to know what's happening. We want to know what we're doing, how we're treating ourselves, or what's happening in the environment that may be causing our loneliness or our heartache or our helplessness, feelings of helplessness over others. Helplessness is one of the hardest feelings to feel. Think about what happens on a freeway, and you're driving down and somebody cuts you off. How many people get enraged? I mean, there's that road rage where they actually kill people because they won't feel their helplessness. They won't compassionately feel it. I have so many clients who somebody cuts them off on the freeway and they're swearing and they're angry and how can they do this to me? What good is that doing? Is that doing any good at all? That person doesn't hear them. It's already happened. They've already cut you off. You're helpless over the fact that they did that. So it's much better for your immune system to just say, that helplessness is really a tough feeling, but I'm right here. I'm feeling it. I have compassion for myself, that's really a tough thing. Or somebody you're close to is treating themselves really badly. You're into good eating and they're stuffing themselves with junk. How bad does that make you feel to see them do that? It's awful. But as much as you try and convince them, you're helpless. You're helpless over other people. We don't have control over other people. And so learning to manage our helplessness with compassion, with caring, with gentleness, tenderness towards ourselves is very important in keeping ourselves in balance, not going into stress. So in step 3, we're exploring. And let's say you feel anxious and you realize you're feeling anxious. And you say to yourself, what am I telling you? How am I treating you that's causing this anxiety? And then you go inside and you let that feeling speak to you, that inner child. And that inner child might say to you, you're putting a lot of pressure on me. Boy, you're telling me that I better look good, or I better lose all this weight, or I better perform, or I better get an A, or I better not mess up at this, or something. I better do something differently. And I feel very pressured when you do that. When you tell me I'm not good enough, you're telling me I'm not good enough the way that I am. You're telling me nobody likes me. You're telling me I'm going to end up in the streets. You're telling me I'll never succeed. There's so many things we could tell ourselves that create anxiety. Well, in step 3, we're trying to understand, what are we telling ourselves that's creating this? And once we understand what we're telling ourselves, then we open to learning with the wounded part of ourselves, the part that's up here, that is programmed. And we say, well, there must be a good reason that you're telling this inner child that you can't make a mistake, that it's not okay to make a mistake, that it's not okay to fail. Must be a good reason we're saying that to ourselves. So then we go in and we look at, okay, what do we believe about that? We believe that we can control how people feel about us if we never make a mistake. We can control how people feel about us if we act perfectly. And so it's all about control. And once we get a good idea of the false beliefs that we're coming from, then we move into step 4. In step 4, we open to our higher guidance, our inner wisdom, our higher self. And the interesting thing that happens in the inner bonding process is that when your intention is to learn about loving yourself, you are able to access that higher wisdom.
Hey guys, I hope you really enjoyed the portion of this lecture on inner bonding by Dr. Margaret Paul. Again, as you have heard, she has a beautiful, beautiful strategy and approach that she has designed for that one challenge that we might be struggling with. I would just like to remind you again on the website, she has free infographics as well as actually a free course on inner bonding. It's a free course, so you don't have to pay for that. So I'm going to be checking that out later myself as well. I have not done that, so I can't give you any direct recommendations, but it is a free resource. So I'm going to be looking into that as I expand my competence with this new skill of inner bonding, which is something that I personally have been needing for some time now. And I think it's actually one of the main areas where I've been getting stuck, if I want to be quite direct and honest with you. And so as we take a step back and reflect on this monthly theme of healing the inner child and the week 1 theme of connecting with your inner children, the first challenge is being willingness. As similar to a DBT skill, willingness and willfulness. You have to be willing to accept those emotions as they come. You have to be willing to sit with that pain and to not let it override you. And when you haven't had emotional support or sufficient emotional support, that can be something that becomes quite challenging. But it is something that can be done. It just takes practice, persistence, and this strategy gives us a great resource and tool to get started doing that. And so I hope that you really enjoyed this lecture. I hope that you click on the YouTube video to listen to the last 2 steps, obviously. And I also hope that you click on on her name in the show notes below so you can check out her website. Again, there's a free course. And yeah, I hope that you guys found this helpful, useful. Inner bonding is also a way to get back to our joy, and that is the whole point of this reparenting journey, because our joy is our true identity. Once we're able to find our way back to our joy by way of working on this inner bonding so that we can reduce and release the faulty beliefs and faulty emotions from the past that keep us weighed down, that prevent us from accessing joy, with enough inner bonding, we'll be able to return to our true selves without all of these unnecessary burdens. So thanks again for tuning in today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. A little bit different from what we normally do. And yes, as always, don't forget to have some fun because it's the weekend. Joy is such an important part of this journey. Again, everything is important, but coming back to your joy is what I always want to encourage you guys with on these Friday Fireside Chat episodes, because your joy is the most important compass that you have in your life. Your joy is the definition of your personality, and you deserve to feel joy. So, thanks again for being here, as always. Take care of yourself. Please do well. Please be well. Have lots of fun, and I'll see you again on Monday. And don't forget to check out the new fairy tale that's coming out this weekend, Saturday at midnight Eastern European time. Central is CEST. I don't actually know what that means. It's like 12 a.m. Amsterdam time, basically. It comes out. Each fairy tale comes out at midnight on Saturday every week. Amsterdam time. So you guys can go ahead and check out that. I'm still going. We have quite a few planned up and through September, actually. So I've been doing a lot of work on that to help myself stay focused and continue growing and having some fun. So I will see you guys soon. Take care.